After being stuck indoors for what feels like forever and having to postpone weddings left and right that were supposed to happen in the beginning of what was supposed to be a beautiful 2020, life throws us a curveball and weddings will be forever changed. There are a lot of predictions online as to what is going to happen now to the wedding industry, to what we know of as the traditions of a wedding, even what's involved now with photography and videography. As a professional wedding photographer, I'm concerned and a little excited because I love when things are shaken up enough to the point where people have to look at the way we do things and determine if there's a better way. Before I get on my rant of what will come of weddings after the dust settles in 2020, make sure that you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified every Saturday morning when I post a new video. With capacity limited, with people unable to gather in big groups, weddings have been completely put on hold. Unless you're willing to do an intimate wedding, which I'm happy to be there for, masked up with gloves, whatever's necessary. When you have such a big wedding planned and with 52 vendors involved, it's kind of daunting to think about having to reschedule it all, having to do all of the mess to make it so that your perfect wedding comes to fruition. Because of that, I think everyone's perfect wedding is being reevaluated. I like that. I'm afraid and excited at the same time. So as a wedding photographer, I do believe that that's going to put more emphasis on the memory. And as a photographer and videographer, that's my job, is to memorialize the day. And I'm realizing that the structure of a wedding and the structure of wedding photography probably needs to shift as well. What you will see most typically is someone who gives you an hourly rate, tells you for this, from this time to this time, it's going to be this much money, which in theory works, but when you're trying to commemorate an entire day, being there for 6 hours is not enough. I want to be there for my bride and groom from start to finish, because my job isn't only to be there to commemorate the day. My job is to make sure you feel confident and comfortable and relaxed. I'm there to help out when you need. I stand with the wedding coordinator and the florist and the makeup artist to make sure all of these pieces are coming together and look absolutely perfect. So I predict that there's going to be more emphasis on photography and video, which makes me happy, of course. It's not about making more money or the fact that I'll be staying out a little longer partying with the bride and groom. If it means I can be there as a friend and make the day that much more special, I think that's my job. I think that's where I need to be. Now, shifting into the actual wedding, there's a huge shift in the way we're thinking about a wedding. It kind of feels great because I think we're getting back to the core values of a wedding. The point is, you're getting into a partnership with someone, and that's a huge deal. That partnership and that love and that connection is really what's supposed to be celebrated. It doesn't matter the color of the bridesmaids' dresses. It doesn't matter that there's exactly 17 roses in the bouquet, that Cousin Louie is sitting 3 seats away from Aunt Petunia. What really matters is that you're happy, the people you love and that are supportive of you are there to celebrate and show their love and happiness for you. What this means for the weddings: smaller weddings, more intimate, more emphasis on the details of the wedding, because it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to feed, decorate, put in more details and more DIY and crafts into a smaller wedding for 50 people than it is for 150, 200 people. A smaller wedding is going to make it so that you can talk to every single person at your wedding, that you can enjoy it and dance and eat and drink as much as you want without having to worry about missing something. You don't need a massive venue. You don't need all of these extra flourishments because it's more intimate. I also predict more destination weddings, because heck, we have been cooped up for way too long, stuck in this freaking house. I'm getting sick and tired of staring at the office walls. I think I'm going crazy. You bet your butt, if I didn't have my wedding already planned out, I'd be somewhere in Aruba, the Maldives. Not that I don't love my venue, and I'm so excited for my wedding because it's gonna be perfect. It makes me reevaluate and think maybe a virtual wedding would have been awesome because I could be in Fiji. All of these things that we held really important to us and how to plan a wedding doesn't really matter anymore. I definitely predict seeing more weekday weddings. Now, of course, 2021 is going to be rough because there are now the brides who have rescheduled from their 2020 wedding into 2021, as well as the brides who are getting engaged in 2020 and plan on getting married in 2021. So we're going to be double booked, which is going to be interesting, but will also mean a lot of savings on your side. Most venues will give you a discount for having a Wednesday wedding, and heck, if you have family flying in anyways, what's the difference from doing a Wednesday wedding and a Saturday wedding? Now, there's some really cool ideas that I'm kind of mad that I didn't think of before. Everyone's now having to think outside of the box. Oh my God, there are two really cool ideas that I really wish I had thought of for myself. One, what about splitting up the wedding into multiple days? Why didn't I think about having an entire weekend or month or year to celebrate my wedding? Have the ceremony early with just family members and your bridal party or the people who are closest to you, and then do a reception and a party a month later, a year later, celebrate on your anniversary. It's called a postponed or a sequel wedding. You can have an elopement or a mini wedding that is on the date that you want, that is in the ridiculous, amazing destination location you want, but no one's angry because they're still invited, but to the bigger party that's later. The sequel wedding will give you an opportunity to do it the way you want, especially if you really want to do the ceremony in a very unique location or far away or only with the people that you really, really, really want to be there. Then you can have the big ceremony with all of the ridiculous people and your mother's co-workers and your whoever wants to be there at the second wedding can be there, whatever you want. The other idea is called a shift wedding. Why not have specific groups of people get together for a few hours at a time, party for 2 or 3 hours, and then move on to the next shift of wedding guests? I love this idea more than anything because you already have a shift of people through a wedding almost naturally. The older, more traditional guests are there to see the ceremony, enjoy, mingle with some people, and generally leave after they've had a slice of cake and it's time for their bedtime. No offense taken, because I go to sleep by 9 most nights, so I'm that old lady. But if you do a shift wedding, a ceremony earlier and a brunch with the older guests, then shift over into a light appetizer then for the guests who can make it during the middle of the day, party for a few hours, and by the time your typical cocktail hour comes around, then you can bring in the party people, the family members who are there, who are going to be up with you until 2 in the morning. You're basically shifting a group of people, and this could be a forever idea. It doesn't have to happen only because we had the coronavirus. What I'm thinking is this will change the way that we host a wedding. As a photographer, I need to be able to shift with that as well. By doing an hourly rate, I'm now limiting the number of photos that we can capture of all of these different groups. The entire wedding industry is evolving and shifting and changing to fit exactly your needs. And with that, if you need anything at all, or you have questions about how this may work with your wedding, or if you are newly engaged and need a fresh perspective from the beginning, take a look at what traditions really hold meaning to you or what really matters on your day. I hope I gave you lots to think about. I'm excited for the new chapter that is the wedding industry revamp, Let me know if you're doing anything a little different for your wedding, if coronavirus has completely thrown a wrench in everything. Leave me a comment below. I'm very curious to see if anyone is implementing any of these new ideas like the sequel wedding or the micro wedding or the shift wedding. I don't know if anyone's planned that yet, but I love the idea of an evolving door for my wedding day. Like, I'm going to sit on my throne and you come to me, and every few hours I get a new party started with a new group of faces. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk soon.